Hey, what is up, everyone? Today I'm going to talk about the extreme wealthy and extreme homelessness in the United States. So, as many of you guys are aware, homelessness has actually increased significantly over the past couple of years. It was around, I believe, 580,000 in 2020, and it's approaching 800,000 now. So it's significantly more, and this is the stated numbers. So, as you guys are aware of, sometimes the government inflates the statistics or doesn't show anything when it's convenient for them. So my view is there's millions, and you can probably look in LA and just alone there's hundreds of thousands of homeless. So why are we seeing this kind of bifurcation in the economy of the extreme wealthy and the extreme homeless? Why are we seeing the homeless grow and the 1% grow? What is the cause of this? And the average net worth of the 1% in 2020 was about $32.1 million. Today it's about $40 million. So it's increased significantly. And we can also see that the middle class has been shrinking over the same time period. And it's expected to actually decrease even more if nothing changes. I think there's a lot of factors to this, just like cost of childcare. You need two income earners to support a family. A lot of things like grocery prices going up, car costs going up, expenses in general just rising, and wages maybe not keeping up in line with that. So the current administration, and even the previous ones before that, there were a lot of people displaced and discriminated against. Where do they go? If you're displaced, where do you go? And a lot of these people, it's not just because they don't have access to housing. A lot of them are addicted to drugs. A lot of them are addicted to maybe they have mental disorders. We got rid of a lot of the mental institutions in the 80s. So, where do the mentally ill go? Where do the drug addicts go? How do we slow down all that stuff coming into the country? And it's a really big problem right now. So here's a few stories I have with my experience with homeless people. I'm always going to offer to give water or food or anything like that to homeless people. But oftentimes, I want to give a hand up. I don't want to give a hand out. And there's been times in the past where in Nashville, for example, I saw this lady kind of begging on the street, and I wanted to go help her. I saw that, maybe she even had a kid with her. So I went into the store and I bought 2-3 water bottles and a couple bags of chips. Just, something that can get her through 5 or 6 hours or more. And I gave it to her. I literally spent like $14 on this. And she looked at me and she says, "I don't want water or food. I want money. I want money." And it was really kind of disgusting because it's hold up here. This is valuable water. This is valuable snacks. And she didn't want it. So it was kind of I think some people don't want the money, or some people want the money because they can shoot it up in their arm or they can buy alcohol with it. With water and food, it doesn't help some of them. Same thing with Chicago. We've gotten scammed. I've gotten scammed in Chicago from a homeless guy, or my dad did. Not me, but it was a situation that has kind of scarred me. And then, there's also people in North Scottsdale, Phoenix area that are homeless. And, man, they're collecting a lot of money, man. Some of these people are bringing it in. And, look, I think at the end of the day, we got to help people that are homeless. But you got to give them food, water, shelter, the bare necessities, the basics, right? Don't go give them a $50 bill. Where do you think that's going to end up, right? Where is that money going to end up? And oftentimes, it's going to be in a place that you don't want it to end up. So we're kind of right now taking a step back at these extreme cases of corporatism and crony capitalism. And this is kind of further exacerbating the wealth divide in our country. With corporatism, corporations, and I would say venture capital, they own almost everything. So the monopoly board is already bought completely up. They own everything. And then the crony capitalism is, you're seeing certain favors made towards elite members of our country and then not towards regular working people. And, this kind of further exacerbates it because it's pretty much saying, like the prediction market example, prediction markets are all over now. And if I have insider knowledge right now that, the Suez Canal will close in 25 days, I can make a bet on that and make a small fortune. Whereas, if I'm just a normal person, so there's insider trading that's happening right now with a lot of these betting markets, and it's further causing this great divide in wealth amongst people. So, I think right now we're seeing the wealth inequality at the highest levels since the Gilded Age in the 1920s. You're seeing extreme wealth, Ferrari stocks, Lamborghini, all these, Patek Philippe watches and stuff, all-time high sales. And then you're seeing homelessness and the middle class shrink at all-time highs as well. So, what can we do to prepare, right? And I have some things to talk about in that in a sec. But the next thing is affordable homes are not being built, and that's causing a further divide in our country. Now, look, I can buy a house out in the sticks right now. Well, I have to go in office, right? So, they're not building more homes where I'm at. They're keeping the supply tight artificially so that people that are current homeowners can cash out at all-time highs. And, a lot of affordable homes are not being built. And that's further causing the divide to exacerbate. Builders do not want to build these homes affordably. They would rather build a McMansion because the margins are not high at all on these affordable homes. And if they can get big margins or little margins, what will you choose, right? So I think, it's pretty sad to see that. And a lot of these private equity companies, Blackstone, etc., they're exacerbating this divide. We've turned into the corporate states of America, the corporatist states of America. And unfortunately, this is what our founding fathers, like Thomas Jefferson, said. If you give the power to the banks, the citizens who grow up in the country will end up homeless. He said that back in the start of this country, and we're seeing it right now. And it's wait, guys, can't we learn from our founding fathers that we shouldn't let this stuff happen? So, these entry-level jobs right now, they're starting to go away. Some due to automation, some due to outsourcing, AI, and whatever, but they're going away, and we got to prepare ourselves. We got to prepare ourselves because at the end of the day, most other countries around the world have cheaper labor. Most other countries around the world are willing to work way longer than we are. Computers, AI, it can do the jobs of 10 people in one foul swoop. And yes, you still need someone to manage, monitor, and diagnose issues with the AI, but generally speaking, the AI is really getting good, and a lot of people may be displaced in the future. So it's up to us to upskill and to retool, reskill into the right areas fast. Because at the end of the day, we could be on the chopping block, right? So there's that. And then, we got to really look at this whole immigration thing or outsourcing thing. If you bring in people, and while the current population doesn't have jobs, that can be a problem. But if you take your current jobs and you outsource them, that can also be a problem. One of the problems in America is we've given the ultimate power to the shareholder. So if you own stock in a company, the shareholder is at the highest level. The board reports to the shareholders, right? It's well, what did you guys expect? I mean, show me the outcome. Show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. And it's we've created these really, really perverse outcomes about bow to the shareholder at all costs. What do you expect? So I think there's going to need to be an unwinding of this system, or almost a revolution, because I don't know if things can continue like this. So we need to solve free market solutions. We need to find out how we can't give handouts. We need to stop the corruption, like we're seeing up in Minnesota right now. There's a lot of corruption that's just people turn a blind eye. I mean, that's really how the fabric of society tears. It really does. People lose faith and trust. And creating back office deals with certain people, it's just going to further the divide. And you also, lastly, you can't blame the rich necessarily. They're putting their money where they can in these private equity funds and what have you, because they're trying to protect their assets, grow their wealth, and do all this. It's just the incentive structures we've created have caused this to unfold the way it has. And I think at the end of the day, we need to do what we can to say, hey, how can we fix this, right? Because, the boomers, a lot of them are on their way out. A lot of them, they kind of caused, quite a bit of a mess, right? We're in the situation we're at now because of them, right? They were the ruling class. They were in the positions of power. And then now we need to take a step back and say, okay, what can we do to fix this? Because it's not going to just get better, by praying for it or by hoping or by, electing the right person. No, we need to all get together and figure out how can we solve this extreme wealth and extreme homeless issue. I was thinking about it. Why not a single person should be food insecure, water insecure, or shelter insecure in this country? We're the wealthiest. There's people in this country that have hundreds of billions of dollars, right? So it's like, if someone can't afford rice and beans, I mean, that should be the bare minimum meal if you're homeless, right? If they can't get access to rice and beans for free, man, there is something wrong with this country. That's messed up. So anyways, guys, we got to be sure to speak out against corruption. We need to do what we can to demonetize housing. We need to fix the money. We need to leverage Bitcoin. We need to provide people with a hand up, not a handout. We can't create these perverse structures, incentives, all that. We need to work and do what we think is right. And I think everything we've been seeing over the past decade, past couple decades, that is, it's been putting us in a wrong direction. So we need to have a serious look at everything. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Please be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, like, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.